It's 11:31 here. I think we can kind of get started. Date December 7th. Head coach Chris Jans with New Mexico State men's basketball, his weekly press conference here. Just kind of get started this way. Coach, just kind of talk about, a week last week started with tying a program record for consecutive wins and kind of ended by, unfortunately, hitting the pause button. Just kind of go over just the last week and, what that was like for you and the team here, and really just kind of a, whirlwind of emotions.
I've forgotten about tying the record, Charlie. I'm glad you brought that up. Seems like a distant memory right now, to be honest with you, but I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It's been a wild 48 hours or so, 72 hours since traveling to California and then finding out that we did have a positive with our traveling party and having to cancel our 2 games out there and trying to deal with the emotions of that from top to bottom. And then talking to the folks back home and figuring out how, to travel back and when and which medium or vehicle, if you will. And then getting back and still dealing with, how to move forward. So it's been quite an experience, but, vintage 2020.
I guess, Coach, where are you guys at right now in terms of, I guess, maybe trying to forge a path forward? What's the process for you right now? And I guess, are you guys still awaiting test results from when you arrived back on early Sunday morning?
We are. We're obviously on pause currently. We tested as soon as we returned, wee hours of the morning on Sunday, and then we tested today, excuse me. You have to excuse me, and the days are all running together, but we've tested twice since we returned, and we're awaiting results, and everybody's obviously in strict quarantine, which is easy where we're at right now because we're all together. Everyone knows where the rooms are at, etc. So we're waiting to find the results right now.
Coach, is there something specific that you and the team want to see, I guess, before a specific, threshold before returning to play?
Right now we're just hoping for negative results, big picture for everybody, regardless of the basketball part of it. We're just testing everybody like we always do and hoping for the best in terms of results. And then once we get that information, obviously with the advice and leadership of our administration, will decide what our steps forward are.
How do you feel? Do you think you'll be able to get the game against Arizona in, or are you prepared if it doesn't happen?
I'm pretty sure that won't happen, for a number of different reasons. So I don't know if it's public or official, but I can't imagine that we'll be playing that game.
Is there any chance that it is what you're talking about? It's public now. Is there a chance you would try to reschedule it later, or is it just off the table now?
That's a good question. One that I'm not equipped to answer currently, unfortunately. I don't know what their schedule looks like, but anything can change. I mean, they could have a game scheduled and that team could get COVID or they could get it themselves. So I wouldn't necessarily say it's off the table, but at the same time, I have no clue, moving forward, what that would look like.
Chris, what's the minimum number of games that you have to shut down due to COVID? Is there a certain number that you have to abide by, or is it pretty much up to you?
You say number of games?
I'm saying, days, number of days you have to shut down. Yeah.
It's so fluid right now. CDC has changed, quarantine guidelines recently. That's kind of the odd deal, in my opinion, about this whole pandemic is, I think if I could be corrected, but most leagues have guidelines, but most universities set their own guidelines as well. I'm not certain the NCAA has strict guidelines to follow. We haven't dealt with it, obviously, during the season like we are right now. So we're just gathering information, currently on pause and trying to test. Obviously, we're testing, waiting for the results. And at that point, we're having constant conversation. But at that point, we'll get our heads together and decide how we, move forward.
Hey, Coach, this is Bruce Pasco, the Arizona Daily Star in Tucson. They actually did announce here Arizona they're going to play UTEP instead of you guys on Saturday. And I was wondering, with what you said about the CDC, they're talking about maybe now you can test out if you're not symptomatic in 7 days, maybe out of a quarantine. And so I thought that maybe put you right on the bubble where maybe you could play that game. Or what was your thought about that?
Well, I'm sure. I mean, if I'm Arizona, I want to play Saturday. So, to sit around and wait for us to figure out where we're at and what our test results are, puts them in a tough situation. So if I'm the other end of the spectrum, if you will, on a game coming up with a team that had a positive, I'm moving forward and figuring out who I can play rather than sit around and wait and then, not be able to play on that date. So I think that's kind of the thought process there.
Okay, but did you think initially that maybe you could get back in 7 days, or was it always pretty much like, nah, I don't think that's that game?
I'll be honest with you, Bruce. I was more concerned with just getting home. How are we going to get home? We're out in California. How do we have other cases within our program? Can we get a bunch of tests taken immediately to see where we were at? What are the emotions of what we're going through once you get a positive within your tier 1 traveling group, because of what we've also went through with the relocation, et cetera. So to be honest with you, I didn't put that much thought into it. I was more concerned about the hourly feel of where we were at as a program.
How is the team kind of managing things right now, I guess, Coach?
They're fine. It is what it is. What are you going to do? There's not much choice. You've got to trudge through it and hope for better days and know there are better days ahead. And, it's affecting everybody in some way or shape or form. And I've said it all along, it's going to be a upside down, topsy-turvy, stop and go type of season for everybody, for the players, for the coaches, for the fans, for the reporters, for everybody that follows college basketball. And, for us right now, we're on the down part and we've got to deal with it as best we can and figure out how we move forward.
Coach, is there a timeline for when you guys are expecting these results back? I know you're testing 3 times a week, so I'm guessing it's pretty quick.
It changes. I'm not in the lab. I don't have any idea how all that goes down. I know we check hourly when we think that the time frame is when we think they're going to be, the results will be there. But, we're hoping sooner than later, but there isn't necessarily an exact time that when you get your results back.
Coach, just if you want to comment on, obviously now you're in this period where you're pausing activities and you're not able to take the court with your guys, probably still doing Zoom meetings and whatnot. But from obviously a scheduling standpoint, are you even gauging interest on games maybe later in December before conference play starts? Is that probably a bit more difficult of a process now, just sort of not knowing when it is you're going to be back?
Yeah, scheduling is very odd right now without having a positive. So to be honest with you, we haven't delved into that too much. We'll find games. I'm very confident that we'll find games, but until we know exactly a hard schedule of, how we're going to move forward and when that would be, it's not fair to anyone else to really start penciling in games until we know, what that return would look like. And we're just not at that point yet. It'll be another 24 to 48 hours before we make any hard decisions on how we move forward and when that would be, et cetera. So other than just BSing about it with amongst our coaches, we haven't done much.
And just in the interim, as far as the players are guys just sort of confined to their hotel rooms, sort of doing workouts in there? Is anybody able to get shots up in any capacity? I mean, what's this sort of like?
Great question,
for the players?
man. It's like you guys are pros at the pandemic. They're just hanging out in the rooms, man. Just hanging out in the rooms like me, getting fat, eating too much, drinking a lot of coffee. There's no games to watch. I was so excited. I watched so much Santa Clara film, like every possession they've had all year long and twice, and then possessions last year, and knew them like I knew my team. And now there's no one to watch. So I'm stuck to other games on TV and Netflix. If you got any suggestions on good Netflix stories, movies, series, please let me know, because that's kind of what we're doing right now.
Coach, has there been a coach that you've spoken to, either when you're trying to line games up or just talking to friends that you have in the industry? Has there been any coach who's given you a really good piece of advice or a real good way of thinking with how to deal with all this?
Yeah, chill out. Chill out. One of my friends, and I will never say who, I'm not sure it's public or not. One guy I know, they have 8 current cases in their program, plus a couple coaches. So they had 10 in their tier 1 at the same time. So they're obviously down for quite some time, and got to get a bunch of EKGs and et cetera. And but the best advice I got is to just chill out, man, which is not what we're normally used to doing, especially in December. But you don't have any other choice. I mean, it is what it is. And, it'd be more fun to chill out in the confines of your own home. Not that this hotel room is bad that they put me in, but just not a lot to do right now.
It's crazy.
I'm going to eat a lot. And like I said, drink a lot of coffee, and I'm tired of looking at the TV.
Well, hang in there, man.
Hey, like I've said earlier,
Coach Jans this morning, guys.
Like I've said earlier, what we're going through is nothing compared to what other folks are having to go through. Okay, I mean, with the loss of lives and the loss of jobs and businesses, and not being able to be with your loved ones, and I've had many people that I know have gotten COVID, and it's been scary because of underlying conditions, age, et cetera. So we're not crying over here. We'll be all right. We'll get through it. Like I keep telling our guys, it's just the worst thing that's going to happen to your life, unfortunately. Okay, unless you're very lucky, very, very lucky. You can look back and say, this is the worst thing that's happened. You've lived a charmed life, because it's not going to be. And there's a lot of worse things going on out there for a lot of other folks, and we'll be fine. We'll be fine. We'll play games eventually, hopefully.
I guess I'd ask a question to Mario. Mario, were you happy with the university's response on dealing with this right away and getting everything situated?
Yeah, Braun Cartwright from our staff has been our deputy AD, been the point person. So, I got the text message about, 12:30, 12:45 a.m. on Saturday morning, of the result. And, he and certainly Coach Jans and his staff immediately, made plans to return to Phoenix, testing, getting the results as fast as we can, et cetera. So, yeah, I think I'm not into giving us any grades, but yeah, I think we're all very comfortable with Braun Cartwright, kind of being the administrative point person for this. And I think everything that is, that can be done is being done, right now.
This must be an important press conference. I got Dad on it with me, making sure I don't say the wrong thing, man. This must be a pretty important one. As I see, is because I've been in his house a few times. He's in the friendly confines of his home.
Yeah.
Zoom meeting.
Well, Lou has already instructed me not to have the bar in the background, you know, to give any wrong impression. You impressionable media folks.
All right, guys. Anything else for either Coach Jans or Mario?
I want it to be over. I don't get much interaction.
Charlie's like, yeah, you guys got to stop.
No, hey,
PR guy.
I'm trying to do my job here. So
I have to get some Zoom set up with some buddies just to be able to talk to other people.
Thanks, guys.
All right, guys.
Hang
Thank
in
you.
there.
All right. Appreciate you. Stay safe, Coach.
You all too.
All right.